Hey people, so I finally hit trial rank 60 today, and it certainly took a long time to do, so I'm here to tell you all of the things that unlock and improve once you reach this trial rank. And obviously, as you would know, you're able to get the final ascension on your characters, bringing them from the level 70 cap all the way up to a level 80 cap. And of course, doing that will get you another track shift module, so of course it is going to be really nice. One of the big things about it is the fact that you would get a massive EXP boost for that final ascension. I believe it was about 1,600 for a character. So that means if you just focus on leveling up your characters and getting them to their max ascensions, you'll quickly go from trial rank 60 to 61 or even 62 very, very quickly. You're going to get a massive increase to all of your base stats, and this is heavily going to increase your character's survivability as well as the damage that they deal. And another thing that you're going to unlock is the Griffin series secret letters. I believe this is the second half of the Griffin series, so if you're planning on getting those for your characters, which I'm not really sure if going for a lot of the goals, especially for stuff like the Griffin series, is going to be the best course of action right now. I'll get into that a little bit later. Now, when it comes to Excavation, I haven't gone through a full run yet, but it does look like the amount of coins that you get per stage will be going up by around 3,000 to 4,000 per stage. So it would be a decent increase to gold. Of course, there is a much better gold farm that gets unlocked at level 60, so this largely is irrelevant. However, when we get to the EXP, you can see right here that you're going to get an additional 3 blue EXP books for both the character and the weapon XP per every single completion of these missions. So it's not really a massive increase, especially because you are probably going to be running very low on EXP when you immediately reach this next level. So these are probably going to be missions that you're going to rely on a lot going forward. As it comes to exploration, this is actually a pretty substantial upgrade because you go from getting 2 of these purple ascension materials to 3. So that is a huge difference, and you also get more of the greens as well. And as we can see, you get an additional purple and I believe an additional blue. I don't know if you get an additional blue, but that is a 50% increase to the purple drops that you will receive upon completing this, which are of course the most valuable ones. I mean, you get guaranteed 3 greens on the previous difficulty as well, and that's basically a third of a purple drop. And considering that you're going to need 20 of these to get the maximum ascension for a particular weapon, and I believe like a few of the other ones as well, you're of course going to be going right back into Mediation, as you probably did many times leading up to this, getting your weapon ascensions for those massive EXP gains. Propulsion doesn't get anything new. Escort, however, does give you an additional 60 carmine globules per every completion, which isn't a massive increase to the amount of globules that you get per individual completion, but it will add up as you do it even more. And again, this is not a mission that you actually have to defeat any enemies in, so you might as well do it on the highest difficulty regardless. Now, it does look pretty noticeably good because you go from having 3 greens and a blue to going to 2 greens and 2 blues, but you're essentially just getting an additional green. They're just combining them into the blue again, so not really majorly impactful. It will add up over time, which you will be completing these missions many times going forward. Now, defense, I don't actually think is going to be as good as a lot of people may suspect, because obviously it does look pretty crazy going from 1 of these skill materials to 2 of those skill materials. What doesn't increase again is the Luno mementos, and these are largely going to be the major roadblock going forward, as you've probably been constantly running out of these as you've been crafting weapons and as you've been leveling up your character skills. And since these don't increase, you are still going to be needing to farm this a lot just for the mementos. And you're going to be needing even more of these for your character skills, because unlike the previous levels, where it was just having the lunar mementos and those particular skill materials, you now need to have filthoid polymers and serum syringes. And you're going to need about 9 of these in total to bring all of your skills up to their maximum level. 1 per skill for the level 9 and 2 per skill for the level 10. And each of these is going to cost a sharpening potion or a projectile, along with their respective filthoid tentacle or sacred candle. You're going to need 4 sand and 6 repulsive crystals, or 6 sand and 4 repulsive crystals, and each of these is going to cost 15 Luno mementos. But you only need about 5 of those filthoid tentacles, or 5 of the sacred candles. And especially because you are still going to be needing these for your weapons and the weapon smelts going forward, you are probably going to wind up having more of these 2 materials than you could ever reasonably get rid of. However, there is one major advantage to the level 80 defense compared to the level 70 defense, and it's not the drops here. It actually has to do with the map that defense takes place in. So if you load into this variant right here for the defense, and you go all the way over to the target that you protect, there is a good chance that you get a map that just absolutely sucks, and this is that exact map right here. I don't know how many of you spent a long time in defense, but the main issue with this map is that it spawns the enemies basically on the other side of the map. And then you have these guys who also spawn all the way over there. So when you have characters like Rebecca or like Lynn, you can see I've got a lot of skill range on that. It's nowhere near touching that. So you are not killing the enemies nearly as fast. Even if you are playing Lynn, who would have a lot more skill range, you do have these sightline issues, because you can hit all the enemies over there potentially if you get a little bit more skill range or maneuver yourself, but then you've got this crate right here that blocks all the enemies over here alongside the slope, alongside the fact that there are going to be enemies coming out of that gate, which are naturally going to be blocked as well, which makes this particular variant of defense significantly longer to clear compared to any other type. When we go to the level 80 defense, and now this is going to be much more difficult, at least initially, because you aren't going to have the characters level up, you can see that this is actually a different variant of defense with a much better map pool, because you have maps like this one where you've got very clear sight lines, it's very tight in the corridors. You can see the enemies are just spawning immediately. While I'm not going to be doing as much damage to them because they're level 80 and I don't have my Lynn leveled up because I am flat broke in the game right now, you can see I am clearing these waves significantly faster, even though the enemies should technically be, well, more difficult. And when I do get to an enemy that has an elite, I will probably struggle a lot more. Yeah, like right there. But that will be something that naturally gets fixed as I level up my characters even more. So this map change alone, even though I'm not really getting any more mementos and not really any more effective loot gains compared to the level 70, I'm just going to be clearing it so much faster in comparison to the level 70 version, so that it's just gonna be the preferred one regardless. And you can see right here, yes, even the level 2 and the wave 3 Luna mementos don't actually scale up. And that just about does it for the commissions. Now, when it comes to the Noctoyager manual, and I have heard a lot of people asking what this level 80 is going to entail, and it's not really that crazy. You get defense wedge right here, which I'm sure for the characters who scale off of things other than attack, these 3 will be crazy good for them. So characters like Sybil, Randy, or Hellfire might get a pretty decent buff from this. One that I have definitely seen a lot of buzz around is these Golden Wings Inspo, which gives a massive max sanity and skilled efficiency buff, especially when you max refine it. you get access to the final stages of each of the Nocturnal Echoes bosses, so you'll get access to those secret letters to farm, including Fantasio's secret letter. I'm definitely looking forward to that. And what is probably going to be the most impactful thing, and why I personally want to grind to level 60, is this final stage of the Mystic Maze. Now, each of these previous ones were pretty decent upgrades from the last one in terms of difficulty and enemies and all that sort, but this one is a massive increase to not just the enemy difficulty, but also the rewards gained, because you can click this and essentially just add a whole bunch of negative modifiers and scale them all the way up, and each of these will drastically increase the amount of points, and not just points, but threads that you gain. And you can be capping off one of these completions earning over 10,000 of these threads. And this is very important, and the reason why I wanted to get this done sooner is so that I can purchase this entire shop full of the Consonance Weapon Demon Wedges, especially because we are kind of figuring out that these Consonance Weapon Demon Wedges are going to be probably some of the most important ones to max out for their specific characters. This then becomes the best gold farm in the entire game. Now, it is obviously going to be a lot more hands-on when compared to the Excavation mission. You are going to get significantly more gold, meaning that you can kind of like farm it out a couple times and then not really have to worry about gold for a while, or at least hopefully not have to worry about gold for a while. So definitely expect to be doing a lot of Mystic Maze once you reach level 60. And that really about does it. Now that I am a higher level, I should be also receiving more secret letter clues gained when defeating enemies. And I am curious to see what exactly the secret letter gain rate is going to be at the maximum level of 65. That's obviously going to be an even bigger journey than the journey to rank 60. Would I recommend grinding super hard to get to rank 60? Not really. I'd say so long as you're hitting that rank 60 somewhere around the 3rd week, like the later half of the 3rd week going into the 4th week, just so that you can grind out the Mystic Maze in that time to get the Consonance Weapon Wedges, because these are limited on a monthly basis. So long as you're able to hit that, you will be totally fine. But each day that you wait is essentially just taking more and more time off the grind, because every single day that passes, you get more of these memo progresses, and that's 3,000 reward percent. It's 30 double drop books. You're getting 15 of these secret letter clues a day. You're getting 600 trial rank XP, which is essentially just a initial copy of a character, or even just one of those weapon ascensions from 60 to 70 every single day. That is going to drastically reduce the hyper requirements that you could need. And of course, that is if you are actually doing your dailies. Most of you are probably going to be hitting that trial rank 60 somewhere around that late 3rd week, early 4th week, and that will be totally fine. I just wanted to prioritize getting that as soon as possible for my own terms. And I gotta say, what a stream that was. Almost 12 hours straight of pure grinding in this game. It was insane. Can't wait to do it again. Well, that just about does it for this video. If you are enjoying my coverage of Duet Night Abyss and would like to see more videos on this game, be sure to subscribe to my channel so you never miss a video. I would like to hear what you all think about rank 60. Is it worth it, or was it not worth it for me to spend all of that time just to get this number on my profile? I just want to say, it was so worth it. It was actually like crazy worth it. I'm gonna do this again. With that all out of the way, thank you all so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time.